Yes, guys, welcome back to the Mindsight Podcast. I was supposed to record this straight after, but I did forget. But today we had on Alex Lennon. He is the number one cross-country runner in the UK. The three main races in the UK, he's won them back to back in 2025 and in 2026. The most important thing I learned from this episode is the way he approaches races and his mentality during races. Previously, he would kind of have that pressure, he would overthink, doubt himself sometimes as well. But he's recently transitioned over the last 2 to 3 years where we've seen this rise in his performances to just being a bit laid back, talking to people, taking that pressure off himself and not actually thinking too much about the race. Yes, there has to be a strategy which is talked about between him and his coach. But aside from that, just be relaxed, talk to people and get the nerves off. I think having a conversation with someone, smiling and not always fixating about what is to come and something that you care so deeply about sometimes allows us to perform better. And that's something I'm definitely going to be taking into my future races because that's something I struggle with. And seeing how much of a rise he's had, A, because of how hard he trains, but B, because of this mentality he's adopted, it really shows me there is a lot more to come. Now, I really enjoyed this episode. Alex is a fantastic person, and he's got a big rise in America coming soon as well. He's going to join the University of Georgia, where he'll hopefully be there for the 4 years. And yeah, he is an unbelievable athlete. Make sure to go check him out on Instagram, AlexLen_. Without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy.
Right, Alex, welcome to the show. You started this year pretty strongly, defending your titles in March. How are the legs feeling today?
Well, today they're actually feeling really fresh because I've had the last week like completely off. I'm taking some downtime just to relax. So yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty calm today.
Okay, ready for the podcast then. But for
Yeah.
those who don't know you, could you describe yourself in a few words, what you do, where you come from, how old are you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 18 years old and I live in like the outer suburbs of London, and I'm a mostly 1500-meter runner is what I would describe myself in track season. But kind of like my biggest kind of standout strength is cross country. So kind of for me, my proudest achievements is probably running for Great Britain at like the world champs, English schools, bits like that. I think that's what people know me most for. But I have ran 5K. My PR is like 14:21. So those are the main things I do.
You also set a personal best in April in the 3,000 meters, wasn't it? Was that an 8:23?
Yeah. That was like it was kind of just one of those races. I didn't really I don't know. I just kind of did it as part of my training. Do you know what I mean? It
Okay,
wasn't
so there wasn't anything like kind of set for that 3,000. It was just part of your training then.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't like a big crazy like, oh, I really want to do this or that. It was
Yeah.
like a kind of, I've been training for a bit. Let me just see where I'm at. And yeah, I don't know. It was what it was like.
Okay.
I was amazed, but it was all right.
But most people kind of know you for your cross country. So talk to me, why do you think you're most suited for cross country?
I think the reason I excel so much in cross country is because the way that cross country training kind of works best for me is, whereas in track, you go like really hard one day and then you go really easy another day, and then really hard another day. Whereas in cross country, it's kind of like you're going like 90%, like day after day after day. And you do that for like a few months. And for me, for whatever reason, that just seems to work really well. The kind of just consistent hard intensity without ever having like super insane intensity or like super easy. It seems to work well just having like the consistency.
And it seems like your body can kind of handle that as well. So do you
Yeah.
think that is also a benefit that you have over other people who may not excel as well in cross country, is that your body can tolerate this amount of load for a prolonged period of time?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm lucky. I've never really had like a serious like skeleton injury or anything like that. So I guess I am pretty lucky in that sense. But we also take like quite a lot of measures at our club. Like we do a lot of grass runs. Me and my coach, we're pretty careful when it comes to even like things like your cadence when running. We try and have like a really high cadence on easy runs, so that each step is like lighter on the ground. So we just take like quite a lot of precautions to try and help reduce the risk of injury, which obviously helps a lot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. As going specifically at cadence, are you trying to just be as light as your feet, trying to turn over as much your legs as much as possible and try and get your cadence as high as possible as well?
Yeah, like that's the goal, because my natural stride is quite like, I have a really, really low cadence and I'm quite like heavy footed, which is like, I mean, in a race, it kind of like kind of do what's comfortable, I guess, but it does put you at a higher risk in training. So I try and increase my cadence because that it's a bit better for speed as well. But yeah, I guess kind of naturally I have like a really slow cadence, so I'm just trying to increase that a little bit.
So is that something that, yeah, just like you mentioned there, but is that something you've worked with over the last few years to try and get that cadence up? And previously, do you think you were kind of like overstriding as well?
Yeah, I probably was. Like, I did like a running gait analysis in January, like 2024. And that guy told me, yeah, I was like, I can't remember in terms of like overstriding, but it was definitely, yeah, like you're not taking enough steps, and each step is like like a huge ton of force for
Huge
each
step.
step.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I guess this past cross country season specifically, that was when my coach was really like trying to mention to me, oh yeah, make sure on all your easy runs keep the cadence higher, because like it didn't come very naturally to me. I had to keep getting reminded to do it. So yeah, that was what we were doing.
Are you looking at data to kind of see, is there like an amount that your coach has told you that you want to be doing per minute? Let's say the amount of steps you're trying to do
Yeah.
per minute.
Yeah. So I use like my Chorus, like it's like a Garmin. And previously on easy runs, my cadence could be as low as like 150. And my goal is to get it up to about 170, something like that. That's the goal. Because I know like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, his cadence was like 180, which for me is like that like for me that's crazy. I couldn't do that yet, but that's like what I'm working towards, I guess.
So is that something that you have at the back of your mind every time you're running now? So it's just smaller steps, more of
Yeah,
a
yeah. All of those easy runs, I'm just trying to, yeah, exactly, like step a little faster. It just means you can increase the mileage with less risk, which is like, again, I come in really handy when I go to America because there is going to be an increase in mileage. And yeah, I want to do anything to minimize the risk there.
For sure, for sure. But I think for people to kind of understand you, we kind of have to go into the past. So I wanted to ask, give me like a bit of your background up athletically. Did you play football? What kind of sports were you playing?
Yeah. Yeah. So from like I guess like year 3, year 4, year 5, I've been playing football. And at that point, like it was just football. I wasn't doing anything else. And then I started to do junior parkrun on the side. Like I'm sure like a lot of guys will know about junior parkrun, obviously senior parkrun as well. Because of my PE teacher, he told me to do it. And I was just doing those for a few years till maybe year 6, and that's when I joined my running club, and I started with just like one run a week. Then I started doing like a training session and park run as well, like the senior park run on the side. And then I guess when I was about 14, that was when I started taking it seriously, because that's when I kind of put football, like I stopped kind of thinking about football so much, and I kind of put all my focus into running. And that's when I kind of really like, I guess that's when I started being recognized as like one of the top runners in England for the age group, because that's when things like SIAB came around and I was able to like compete for England and stuff like that.
So do you think let's say your PE teacher and later on down the line, another coach kind of saw in you that you had a lot of potential in running and advised you to go into junior parkrun and then go into parkrun later?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think it was my PE teacher. Like, if it wasn't for him saying, like, I think you have a thing for running, because it was through like one of like the inter schools challenges. I think he thought, yeah, like I'm pretty good at running. He then, what's the word? He kind of recommended the coach at Sutton and District to me. And then my coaches, Nick and Maureen Hancock at Sutton and District, they've just been like, they've given me so much support over the years. They've never failed to support me even once, like from literally day one until now. And to in the future too, I know they're just, yeah, they've always been there for me. So I couldn't be more grateful for both of those people.
Amazing, amazing. And speaking of your support system, how has your kind of family played in your growth in the sport over the last few years? How supportive are they?
Yeah, I mean, my dad has never failed to take me to a race, not even once. So I can never, I don't know what's the word. Like, I should never ever forget about those people that helped me like that. And yeah, like it's funny really, because my family were not really a family. We're not like a running family. So I guess like we didn't know about running so much, like kind of as it was. So I guess my parents they had to look into running themselves in order to really like understand what I did and how to support me best, because it wasn't something that like we've always been doing. Like we're not like a huge family of runners. We do other things. Like my brother, he does ballet. That's what like my mom likes. And then yeah, so it was kind of new to our family, I guess, which is why my coach kind of communicating with my family was like
Wow.
it was so great. Yeah.
Did your dad kind of like think that it was so different and so kind of like why was his first thought like why would you kind of just run for fun, or
Yeah,
What was the first
yeah.
thoughts like when your dad saw that you had a lot of potential in running?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people's first thoughts. Like, why would you run a run? But I think he was just happy to see me like do a sport that has so much support in it. Because especially like when you compare it with football, sometimes like when I was at my old football club, it would be it was very competitive and it was quite, I don't know, there was a lot of tension at times. And I
Yeah.
think he was happy to see that through running. You know, everyone's always really friendly in running, and I think he was happy to see me in a place where there was just like such a nice support system and things like that.
Speaking of that, why do you think that is in running that you have kind of a friendly and supportive environment compared to
Yeah.
other sports?
I think what it is kind of everybody knows like how difficult running is. Like when you're like, for example, when you're at these competitions like English schools, any of us, frankly, any race, everyone's worked so hard to get there. That's kind of like hard not to respect the people that you're racing with.
Okay.
And it's whereas like you're kind of like it's like you're almost in it together because it's so hard. Yeah, you do want to see other people succeed because it's inspiring seeing other people do so well. And yeah, it's not like a rivalry type thing. It's more of like it's like friendly competition rather than like tension. So yeah, it's really nice.
Would you say it's because running is an individual sport? So, you know, when you turn up to races, everyone who is on that start line to actually be in that race has to have worked really hard to get there. And
Yeah,
therefore, there is that respect. Whereas with football, because it's a group sport, you kind of, even like if you look at derbies, there is always that rivalry. There's always that,
yeah.
dog hunt,
Yeah,
whatever.
like in football, it's like the us v them mentality, whereas in running, it's kind of like, yeah, there's not like an enemy. It's like you're kind of doing it for yourself.
Exactly, exactly. I don't want to use that phrase that we see online too much, but it's like you versus you, really.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
But now going towards the present over the last few years, we've had some really, really good races. We had Ethan Newell on the podcast this week as well, and he talked about kind of taking a few notes from your playbook, which was kind of mastering the nerves and the visualization. Now, you had a few races where I remember reading on your Instagram, there were some times where you got in your own head, but then you had your mentor that also helped you kind of control the pressure, control the nerves, and then deliver a good race. So tell me, how does someone kind of switch off the nerves and utilize them in the right way to deliver a good race?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing if you want to switch off your nerves is to make sure your brain is doing as little thinking as possible. So what that looks like for me is coming up to a race, instead of thinking in my head like, oh yeah, I need to do bike hop at that time, I need to do a gel at that time, I need to stop warming up at that time. I have it all on my phone. Like I have an alarm for every like timing that I go off. And that means like I don't need to think about that stuff anymore. Like it's reminded for me. And I try and just previously I was, I would thinking like it would help me run better. I would like ham on pressure on myself all day. Like I would always be like listening to like crazy, like aggressive music and stuff like that throughout the day. Whereas I found what actually works best for me is literally just being with your friends, like warming up with your friends, and it just kind of keeps you in like a positive mind frame rather than being like so negative. And yeah, it kind of makes you like sharper, like ready to race because you're not tired from like being all pressured all day.
And kind of like, do you think because if you're thinking about that race all day, it's kind of like overthinking and just all of
Yeah,
the all of the outcomes that could happen instead of just
yeah,
being relaxed?
exactly. Like you get to the race and you're so exhausted from thinking it through so many times that you can't even race properly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you talked also about visualization. So, for example, when when you're running, what are you kind of visualizing? And also before the race, what are you kind of visualizing? Is it the end goal, seeing yourself taking the race win, or what is it?
In track, I'm like very like in the moment. So in track, I'm always thinking like, oh yeah, let me get that 200 split, that 400 split. Whereas in cross country, where it's like a little slower and you have more time to think about it, yeah, I am thinking forward. Like on the start line, if I want to stay positive, I am thinking about, yeah, like this is what I want to achieve. This is what I want. Because also in cross country, it's like the time doesn't matter. Like you're there purely to try and beat others and try and be the best. So in cross, it's like really helpful to picture like the place that you want to be in, because then every time you see somebody, you're thinking of that goal in your head and you're going to try and go past them. Whereas in track, like I find it really helpful to like have all the splits nailed down, and then it means like I'm where I want to be in the race properly.
So when you're finishing a lap in track and you see the 400, are you looking at the time?
Yeah, every time. Even like if there's a clock at 200, I'll look there as well.
Wow, okay, that's really
Yeah.
different because I had a 1500-meter runner from Cyprus who's going to America as well for university
Yeah.
now, and he talked that it's a kind of like a bad habit to look at the time. He kind of wants to just
Really?
race the race, but I guess it's just different for each athlete.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a good race and you know that there's people that are going to be hitting the times, like I agree with him, but I think I don't like putting my race all into somebody else's hands, you know, like I want to be in control of it myself.
So when you're on the track and you're running a track race, what's your strategy? How do you go about like a 1500, for example? Are you going out there hot, or how do you execute your race?
Yeah, like my start is always quite fast because I don't have whereas like Ethan, he has such a great last kick, like he could drop like a 56, basically, no matter how fast he's gone in the last lap. I don't have that skill. So I try and basically go out hard and just run evenly because for me, like I just struggle to hit like even like a 58, 59 second last lap is a huge struggle for me. So I try and really get out hard, get even splits.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it kind of just is different for each athlete, and you've got to kind of have to play
Yeah,
it to each athlete's strengths. Do you know what I mean? Just like you mentioned, Ethan
exactly.
with his great kick, he can rely on that kick at the end to just produce a really good final product, shall we say.
Exactly.
Now, another kind of like mental thing that I saw from you is that you have this like framework where if you have a poor week or a poor race, you kind of try and erase it quickly and just go to the next one. Now, where did this kind of mentality come from, or was this built over time?
I'm not sure. I couldn't like give like one place where it came from specifically, but I guess it's just like the kind of mindset of like complete, just like always moving forward, never looking back. I don't really know. It's kind of built up over time, really. I don't think there's one particular event that made that in me, but I think it's like one of my biggest strengths. Like I basically never dwell on the past. I'm kind of always moving forward. And it just, it keeps you positive because whenever you look backwards, it's easy for it to turn into kind of like disappointment or anger. So I think staying like either looking forward or staying in the moment, that's like the best place to be, really.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, if you're just looking at the past, like you mentioned there, and the disappointments, or even
Yeah,
if something is not really a disappointment, your mind might make it a disappointment. But if you're looking
exactly.
forward, looking at the next race, what can you produce there? I think that's a much better and fresher way to look at it and kind of putting
Yeah.
yourself in more positive thoughts.
Yeah, because I know like a lot of athletes will relate to this. Often, like I'll look back at a race and I think like, oh, like if only I'd pushed harder in that last bit, or if only I'd. But when you're actually in the moment, like you're giving it your everything. So looking back is just not even not even a helpful thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of talking about mentality, you did have a mentor with Laura Waitman. What's h- how long have you been working with her, and what kind of the best advice that she's given you?
Yeah, I mean Laura Waitman. I don't work with her like on a regular basis. The role that she played in my life was at Euro under 18 champs. So this was like the first major champs I'd gone to. So obviously I'm obviously like I'm nervous. Like
It's
you're gonna
normal.
have nerves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Major time. Yeah. And for the heats, I was just like all over the place. I forgot my gel. I forgot to fuel properly. I was like late on my warm up. I was like all over the place. And Laura, she kind of I got through like literally so luckily. Like I shouldn't have qualified for the final, but somebody got a DQ and that's what pushed me through. And for the
Wow.
final, Laura Waitman just said to me, like, write up a plan, get everything kind of down. And I guess that's what led to me like setting timers on my phone for things. It means like I'm never in a stress thinking like, oh, like I forgot this, I forgot that. It's like it's all there for me. So she was like so helpful in that sense.
And kind of speaking about that, when you're writing all of this stuff down, is it just to kind of reduce as much mental load and stress before a race? You just don't want to have to think about anything because you have it all written down in that list. You just got to tick the boxes pretty much on every little time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like two things. One, it's like so that you just don't forget, because obviously if you
That's
forget,
also
that's
true. You don't want to miss taking a
and
gel.
yeah, exactly. It's mainly that like you don't have to think about them anymore. You could just kind of relax and do whatever you want. Yeah, it reduces the kind of stress on your day. It's nice.
Yeah, and also recently in another race, you went to Florida this January. Firstly, how was that? How was going to Florida?
Sick. It was so cool.
Really
So
hot
cool.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like January the 1st, and it's like 25 degrees there.
That's
I was like,
mad.
what is
That
it?
is
I
mad.
know.
But you were quite transparent about that. You said, if quote me if I'm wrong, but it said that you got dealt with pretty fast. What did you mean by that? You finished 31st, but
Yeah. No, I
was the
went out
conditions the
like pushing
difficulty?
video. Yeah, like I just underestimated how hard it was gonna be. Like it was a rookie error, really. It was so hot, and I just went out not with the lead pack, but not far from it, thinking like, oh, this pace feels easy, and then come the second lap, I'm absolutely dying. So that was, although like the result was not even like, I'm still proud of the result. It wasn't a bad result. It was just the way that I raced. I was just slipping the entire race.
Right. Okay. Okay. And if you could, like, if you just reflect back on that race, what are some things you're telling yourself for the next big race or the next champs that you might have next year?
Like, just don't underestimate when things are like when you're used to it being cold, don't underestimate the effects of it being really hot, for example, and just make sure that you go off conservatively. Because like I don't always say to go off conservatively, but when there's like a change in conditions that it's unpredictable, that's when you should go off conservatively, because you just don't know how your body's going to respond to it.
And are you doing a bit more kind of like heat training? I mean, right now it's really hot in the UK, but are you doing
Yeah.
any more heat training to kind of like combat just in case the conditions are as hot as they were in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, one bonus about going to Georgia is that it's gonna be like hot. Like I'm gonna have a lot of 30-degree training days. And it's gonna be, yeah, like right now, that's one of my biggest weaknesses. Basically, anywhere you go in the world is gonna be hotter than England. So it's like it's always challenging. Whereas if I've got a ton of training in warm weather under my belt, yeah, it's a huge asset to me.
Yeah, and definitely your body will be able to kind of like adjust to all of that training.
Yeah.
And I think once it kind of adapts to the temperature and the conditions, once you go into a hot weather kind of race, it's not too different to what you've been training with, so it doesn't
Exactly.
have that kind of shock.
Exactly.
Now, let's look in the future. What's the next major target on the calendar, let's say in 2026?
Yeah, so I'm now looking at kind of my goals for this year in terms of like the NCAAs and the kind of university system. So for cross country, I really just I want to compete. It's kind of a team-based goal. I want to compete at the NCAA nationals with my team. And in terms of where I actually want to come, I don't know yet. Like it's like such a competitive field. I don't know where I want to come in that yet. I still need to set that target. And my big goal for the summer, it's an ambitious goal, and it will be a major challenge to get it. But I want to make the NCAA track championships, which is it's a very tough thing to do, and especially as a freshman, it would have to mean like a perfect year from me. But this is one thing I learned from Ethan. Like he's a huge advocate of this, setting like really high ambitions. You kind of match that in your training, and it really boosts you up. So I'm kind of taking a leaf out of his book in that sense, and that's why I'm setting like big goals for me this year. Like I want to make the NCAA track in next summer.
That'd be amazing. And he did talk about that quite a lot. And it's kind of like shoot for the moon, but land on and land on the stars if you
Yeah.
have to. You know what I mean? But if you land on the moon, then you're still winning either way.
Yeah, yeah. And like
But
he lives that out every day. Like I've never seen him not push 100% at training. He's always going for it. And he's never, even when he ran 340, you could see that he wanted more. Like, he lives that.
yeah, definitely. And I think also when you set something so ambitious, it's kind of always at the back of your mind. So when you're training,
Yeah.
even on track and off track, you know what you've kind of set to yourself, and you know you've kind of put that out there, and you know you've got to do everything in your power to try and get that. So that means on track
Yeah.
and off track, you're trying to
Yeah.
maximize
Because the
everything to
on
get
track's
that.
only half of it. Frankly, maybe it's frankly less than half of it. Like the off track, exactly. That's what separates the good from the great. And yeah, exactly. Having that in the back of your mind at all times. It's like a reminder to you to like stay locked in, do what you need
Definitely.
to do, and yeah, you'll achieve your goals.
And now that we're speaking a bit about off track, what are you kind of doing off track that you think has really helped you with this rise in the last few years?
I mean, off track, like my diet has been, I used to just obviously like have school food like as anyone else would, but I took control of my food, like my diet myself. Like I did my own grocery shops from like year 11 onwards, so that I could
Wow.
get like my own meal prepping. I try and like every night, I don't sleep well. I'm like quite a light sleeper, but I always am in bed for at least 8 to 9 hours. So I'm good in that
Nice.
aspect. And one thing I'm doing now, and I want to focus on for the next year, like it might sound weird, but once you've done the things that you need to do, I'm trying to just enjoy myself and take the pressure off a bit, because it's actually like a very important part of recovery is like relaxing and enjoying yourself. If you're like, I'm so used to being on 24/7, like especially with A levels and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
I've
man.
been in quite like a high pressure environment. It's nice and it's good for your body just to like take a little like step back, relax a little bit once you've done the training, once you've had your diet, etc.
Yeah, and I think it's also important when you're like not in season as well to kind of take some time to yourself and just relax a bit, because when you're
Exactly.
in season and you're so locked in on everything that you need to do, it's kind of tiring for your brain as well. So you kind of need that time off just to relax a little bit.
Exactly. It energizes you. Like
Yeah,
if you're
definitely.
like, I don't know, if you saw my Instagram this week, but like, yeah, I've just been having fun. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't
I've
been
seen.
like just been enjoying myself, man. And it means when I get back to it, like I plan to start training next Tuesday. I'm already starting to crave running again because I've had my fun. I'm ready to like lock in and go for it again.
Yeah, fantastic. And if you could talk about some things that you do, like what are some of your hobbies off track as well?
Yeah, like off track, I love like I'm big into cars. I love cars and stuff like that. And I can't wait. Hopefully I'll get a car when I go to America. I don't know. I used to do a lot of like photography. That was like when like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that was like my source of income. I was doing photography for like brands and
Were you a
I used
freelance
to do
photographer?
that. Yeah, that's what I used to do. Yeah, exactly. So that I like that as well, but I don't really do that as much anymore.
And am I right in saying you had, was it Bolt running?
Yeah, yeah, that was like my personal brand back in the day.
Wow,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah, no, I miss it. It was a lot of fun, and it was cool. Like we did like events, like we did a long run for the brand, and yeah, all sorts of things. It was fun.
Wow. What are some stuff that you kind of want to take from the UK when you go to America in terms of stuff that you do off track, and what kind of things are you looking forward to do in America?
Good question. Like, I don't know, what would I take from the UK? Like,
I feel like you got to take a bit of football culture.
yeah, I want to show them like UK music. I feel
Yeah,
like American
defo.
music, rap's calm, but they need to show. I think they need to hear a bit of the British dance music, stuff like that. What else?
What are some of the artists you're listening to at the moment?
I look, this is like niche, like if you know, you know, but I like bassline and stuff like that. So I'm into DJ Panther, all people like that. Obviously, I like
Okay.
a bit of rap, but I like UK rap. I don't really listen to US rap all that much. But yeah, I'd say my favorite artist right now is probably, don't even know. The guy I listen to the most, probably Nines or Scraps.
Okay. Nines is cold. Nines is cold. I rate that. And yeah, what are you looking forward to in the US the most?
Just like the biggest shift is going to be the fact that like my life's just going to get like more fun. I don't know how to say it. Like,
Yeah.
like this last year of school has been like, it's just been like work all the time, because in the UK, like kind of school comes first and then you have to do anything to try and fit running around it. Whereas I'm hoping in America, the balance is going to be a bit more like tailored to the running. And then it means like I'm not going to be as under like crazy stress all the time trying to fit it in, because it's going to kind of be like allocated for me a
That'll
bit
be
more.
your priority in other sense.
Exactly. Becomes like higher priority. Whereas right now I was like juggling it with like so many other things. It was just like, it was kind of hard.
Did you have multiple offers from US universities? And if so, what made Georgia the right one for you?
No, I mean, I would say, to be honest, I didn't have many offers to go to US university. I had like, so I started getting offers when I was in the end of my year 11, no, the end of my year 12 cross country season. That was like when I had the most offers, because in my year 11 summer, I'd ran 3:48, and that was when I went to Euros and I came fifth. And then in the year 12 cross country, I won like English schools, like the national stuff like that. So that was when I was at like the peak, and I started getting offers then. So I kind of, yeah, like I was talking to them, but I was thinking like, let me sign a little later, because like I don't want to jump into something right now when I don't know what's going to happen. And then in the summer of year 12, I didn't PR in the track season, and all of a sudden, like it was like, I'm not gonna lie, it was crazy. Like the amount of people I was talking to before, and then the amount of people I was talking to after, it went down dramatically.
So it went
And
quiet.
it's like, yeah, like they're harsh. They're so harsh. You have one off season and it just like disappears. Whereas Georgia were like, they stayed consistent. They didn't like my coach Tribble, Adam Tribble. He has so much faith in me. And that's what I like the most about him. I feel a real like, whereas with the other universities, UNC, I felt really like I had a good connection with the coach there, and I really liked them. Same with Wisconsin. I like the coach there a lot. But a lot of the universities, not in like a diss or anything, but I didn't feel like the coach had like such a strong, like unwavering belief in me. Whereas at Georgia, I I have so much faith in my coach Tribble, and I feel like he has the same in me to put in the hard work. And I love the team at Georgia. Obviously, I haven't been there yet, but from the people I've spoke to so far, I really get on with them. So that was why Georgia was the best fit for me. It was mainly the relationship with the coach and the athletes. It's like such a big part of it. You can't overlook that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think having that belief in your coach, and it's kind of like having him in your corner as well when you're kind of in training, but also in the races, knowing that, you know, you have him supporting you. Just like we mentioned here in the UK, having that support system is just so important. So
Yeah.
having that also in the US is essential when you're trying to, you know, run a PB or do the best you can in some of these races. Kind of looking outwards, when we look at some of the stuff you've done, you're a photographer, you had bolt running. How important do you think it is as a track athlete to have like a personal brand and kind of showcase who you are online, so that, you know, because I think track is a sport where you don't really get paid well. Like if you look at Premier League footballers, they get paid a lot more than some of the track athletes do, and it's all based on their performances. So do you think it's necessary for modern athletes to kind of have that social media presence?
Yeah, I think definitely, because whereas like with football and like a lot of other sports, you have the opportunity to kind of show your personality like on the pitch or like with like celebrations or like skills or whatever. Whereas with running, you know, it's so like binary, like you're just running around a track. So if you want to stand out and you want to like give people a reason to watch you, yeah, you kind of need to be creative in terms of like fashion or your personality. Like there's a reason Marco Langdon is everywhere, because he's like the most, like he's such a gripping personality. And that's why that would be such a big reason of why he got that contract with Diadora, because yeah, like he just attracts attention through his personality. So if you don't have like anything to your name other than the Times, you're kind of, yeah, you're limiting yourself because it's just not as memorable.
And to be fair, I think you've kind of already done that. Like I've seen so many videos of you on Athletics Weekly about talking about your races that you've done post race interviews and stuff. And I think one of the main things people were saying is that it's pretty cool to see someone who's able to have a conversation and hold that conversation and talk about his races in so much detail. When you hear, especially nowadays, everything is kind of like PR.
Yeah,
Basically, yeah, you know, and you can't really say
yeah.
exactly what you mean, but
Uh-huh.
you said everything in detail and explained and even on your Instagram, you talk so vividly about your races and stuff, and it's so refreshing to see.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
do you kind of see yourself kind of building your personal brand outwards from that?
I hope so, because I think it's important to, like, it sounds like cliche, but I think it's important to be like authentic and realistic
Yeah, for
and
sure.
not just talk about like when it's going well. You have to be real and say when things aren't going so well. And yeah, I hope like one of the things that I think separates me is that, yeah, like I used to have a YouTube channel way back in the day, and it just built like confidence in front of camera. I'm not shy to speak in front of camera, and I guess I think, mate, I've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel again, frankly.
You
And I
should.
think like what I want to do is be a high level runner, but also like a person as well as that people like actually can relate to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I think people would find it so interesting to see what a D1 athlete's kind of life looks like on track and off
Yeah,
track. And you detailing that in Georgia would be absolutely fantastic. I think that would bang, to be
yeah.
honest. Like, you should definitely get started
I've
on
been
that.
really thinking. Definitely, I've been thinking about it
And it's
for sure.
also kind of, as you put yourself out there to more and more people and you make yourself more marketable. I mean, you're already very marketable. You've won the three big races for cross country in the UK. You've done that twice now in 2025 and 2026. You're heading to D1 in Georgia. Like, for brands looking at you from the outside, they see someone who can have a conversation as well. You're marketable. But let's talk about brands then. If you
Yeah.
if you wanted to have some brands that you would work with without kind of just like, if you're comfortable saying this, which brands would it be?
All right. Like obviously the big ones are like Nike, New Balance, On, Adidas. I think Adidas sponsor the most athletes.
I see
Nike
that a
have
lot.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, Adidas sponsor the most, and I feel like their contracts are good. Nike is like my favorite looking in terms of like I love their half tights and stuff like that. On is really cool because they have great athlete support and their stuff is like a bit elevated. Like it's not like Nike. It's like it's different. They're
I
in a
know what you
different
mean.
market.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and like New Balance as well. Their stuff is just like obviously I can't name names in it, but I've seen their stuff from people that I know, and
Yeah.
like it looks proper. So frankly, anyone, bro. Honestly, I haven't, like, as much as you say I'm marketable, like I should be good to brands. I'm like, if you worked for those companies, that'd be amazing. But unfortunately, I have, yeah, bro.
What
So I'm
about
sure
any
it would come.
what about any clothing or like nutrition brands? Are you looking at any? Would you be open to any of that?
But I mean, bro, like I'm open to anything, but I know like OTE Sports, they do a few things for nutrition, which would be cool.
They sent
Yeah,
some stuff
like,
to Ethan as well recently.
yeah, I saw that today. Yeah. So, yeah, bro. Look, if anyone's listening, exactly, like,
Yeah, definitely reach out. Right, let's move on. So, the theme of this podcast is athletes getting to the peak of their powers. Where does that look like for you?
what do you mean, sir?
So, where is the highest level you think you can get to? What's the peak for you?
Damn, like my peak. As in, like a goal that I want to achieve, that would be me at my
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Like long term, my goal has been for ages to be the quickest British man at the Olympics. That's like, it's like weirdly
Come
specific, but
on.
like I've always wanted, like I want to be the one that in the 1500, or in, frankly, the 1500 is like my dream event. That's my favorite event. I want to be the one that, like, when people are watching it on TV, they're like rooting. That's like the GB guy that they're rooting for. Do you know what I mean? That's what's always in my head. Even more than like a gold medal or anything like that. I want to be like Great Britain's number one. Do you know?
Well, you said you wanted to be the Seb Coe of British middle distance running. Is that still something you believe in?
Yeah, like 100%. Like Seb Coe is like, he kind of, yeah, I do aspire to him, because he's obviously, like, I don't need to say it, like the crazy athlete, but he is, yeah, he's a great guy off the sport. He's even gone, like, obviously I think he's the president of World Athletics, I
Yeah.
believe. I think that's right. And yeah, like yeah, what he does on and off the track is something that I really aspire to, and I think it's really cool. Like if running, like if I don't go pro in running, I would love to work around running, like in World Athletics or an organization like that. Like it would be really cool for me to do that.
Wow, fantastic. Now tell me, where is Alex Lennon in 3 years?
3 years time, he's running 3:32 in the 1500,
Okay.
13:15 in the 5K, and maybe he'll do a 10K in, like,
Ooh.
about 10Ks, but I want to do a 10K at some point in the next 3 years, like a good one.
Okay. All right.
Maybe that
There's a
5K, but yeah.
nah. Shoot for the moon, aim for the stars, man. Go land on the stars. Yeah. Right. Just to round off this part of the podcast before we move on to some quick fire questions, for you, what would you say has been the biggest eye-opening moment of your athletic journey so far that has allowed you to kind of progress and become the athlete you are today?
I think the biggest, like, step forward in my career, okay, it's like weird, right? It's not like, it wasn't a big event or anything crazy, but it was my last race, right? I ran a 3:48 1500, which wasn't a PB, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was eye-opening to me, because whereas normally, like, I kind of touched on this earlier, I like to put so much pressure on myself during the day. For this race, I fully just focused on enjoying myself, having a good time. And I was coming back from, like, I had a hamstring strain, so I wasn't in a great shape. But for me, running 3:48 there was like a huge feat. And it showed me that enjoying yourself is really the way to unlock your peak performance.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, that was into me.
Amazing. All right. Let's move on to the final part of the podcast. We're going to go
Yeah,
some
bro.
quick fire questions. I always love this part. If you couldn't do any sports for the rest of your life, what would you do?
Probably work in fashion.
Okay. Like designing clothes or marketing?
Yeah. I'd work in sports marketing and sports fashion, like at Nike or at Adidas or something like that.
Okay, so fashion is still something you really look at, and it's still part of your life, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't spend a lot on clothes, so on the outside I don't look very fashionable, but I have a big interest in it.
Okay, fantastic. What's the hardest session you've ever survived on track or on the mud?
The hardest session I've ever survived was probably 2 sets of 400s, and each set is progressive, so the last 400 has to be quicker than the one before.
Okay.
It was just like, it's just, any progressive session is always hard, because whatever you set on the first one
Yeah.
is like the base. It's not getting any easier from there.
Were you on the ground on the last rep?
Yeah, like it was.
All right, next one. Track or cross country? If you had to drop one forever, which one goes?
I'd drop, because I want to go pro, I'd drop cross country. If money wasn't a thing, I'd drop track because I love cross country more.
Okay, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. So if it's
Uh,
passion wise, you would go for cross country.
Passion is cross country. Yeah. Passion is cross country. But
Okay.
yeah.
Last one. If you could go back, or even just talking to an athlete out there who's about 14 or 15 trying to progress, what's your best piece of advice for them?
Keep it simple and like enjoy yourself. Don't like you've heard it everywhere that putting pressure on yourself doesn't get the results done. Do what you need to do, like eat well, sleep well, whatever. But then once you've done those things, like just don't overly stress yourself out. Enjoy yourself and enjoy the ride. Make sure you always run with your friends where you can. That's the biggest thing.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, and I can really relate to what you're saying. I think putting pressure on us kind of, I think we need a bit of pressure, but I think a lot of times we put too much pressure, we put too much
Yeah,
overthinking, self-doubt, and all of
yeah,
this stuff comes into play, and that kind of derails
yeah.
performance instead of improving it. So yeah,
I think
echo
more
all
people put too much pressure on themselves than people put too little on themselves, for sure.
definitely. And I think that's
Yeah.
because of the standards that we think we are and where we want to go to, sort of thing, that we kind of
Yeah.
put that pressure on ourselves.
And like what's like celebrated in society is like constantly working hard. We don't really like when you look on TikTok, all the like you see those like motivational edits, that's what's always pumped at you. You don't really
I
see
know.
so much like enjoying yourself, relaxing. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not really
yeah,
pushed.
yeah. It's like nowadays, I feel like when you are relaxing or enjoying yourself, you kind of like, oh, you should be working. Why
Yeah,
is
you
he?
feel guilty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when it shouldn't be
exactly.
like that. You need a good balance. I think
Correct.
balance is the most important part.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
Well, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Alex. If
Thank
you
you.
guys want to go and follow his journey to Georgia and beyond, hopefully to the Olympics, hopefully to becoming the fastest Brit, make
Yes.
sure you go check him out on his socials, Alex Lennon _. It's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. I've actually really enjoyed this conversation, and
Well, man.
yeah,
Thank you.
I've learned a lot. So thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time. To everyone listening, thank you for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment, drop a sub on YouTube, and also please leave a review on Spotify if you are enjoying the podcast. But without further ado, we'll be back next week with another incredible athlete stepping to the arena. But for now, guys, I'll see you at the top.